And we are live. Hello, everyone, to the Sunday stream. We have some different things to talk about, and you could be watching from anywhere around the country and the world, and I appreciate that. Also, I think that last time we had a very great stream that day on Friday. A very good stream. Alright, so now I'm going to go over to this other section. Alright, here I am. Hello, and I'll be talking about some, eclectic stuff, and I'll talk more about the Titanic and food and chilling and maybe some stuff about the Orbs and things like that. And I did this last week, and it was last Sunday I did this. So I am very glad to be here with all of you, and I am doing something right here. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, the Titanic, I'm about to go in some articles about it. The reason why I'm not playing a game is because the game looks like it's not in service right now. And Mel's making a post about the stream. That's why I was pausing for a second. So basically, as I was saying, the game, I was going to play it for y'all and talk about the different stuff, which I'll still talk about the different stuff, but I'm not playing the game while I talk about it because because it is in they're like doing maintenance on it. I was trying to think of the word. Alright, so what I'll do now is I will put up the articles and stuff like that and just get right into it. Alright. This mouse being a little bit funny, and I hope that all of you have been having a great Labor Day weekend. And that tomorrow's Labor Day. I hope everything goes well with that. And this mouse is being silly. And what we'll do now is I'll open up the other window. Now we're going to go into Google Chrome. Okay. Alright. Now we'll be switching over to the spaceship cats. I paused in the beginning when I was talking because I was wanting to make the post about it and doing a little bit of multitasking. Okay, now we're going to go to the window capture and go to Google. Alright. Have to move this a little bit over. I did not know it was like that. Okay, so shout out to the spaceship cats, as usual. And put this, I'm moving some windows around, and then we're going to get right into, I'll look up things with the Titanic and talk about the different things. Alright, so here we go. Putting this thing down here. Let's get right into it. So basically with the Titanic, it was claimed that it was unsinkable, and as you all know, it didn't exactly turn out that way. It's not actually unsinkable, and many people perished on it and were injured. Also, there was flaws in its construction somewhat, and there's flaws in the way they were piloting it. So they weren't supposed to put it right into, hello Amanda, good to see you, welcome, I'm glad that you're here. Now, because I had the chat window open, I was able to see you now. Alright, and Amanda, it's nice to see you too, and I hope that you're having a great weekend. Okay. So, as I said, just like with Stockton Rush with his submersible, he thought that he could go down under the sea with a little tin can patched together from stuff from Home Depot. But actually that's not the case, and unfortunately he imploded, and it mirrors what happened with the Titanic, how the captain was going through an ice field at full speed, and although if it directly hit an iceberg, it wouldn't have sunk in theory, but it still what they did was they're trying to miss the iceberg, and instead they just swiped a giant gash in the side of the ship. So, and it sunk and it fell apart, and it was really messed up. Also, I'll be talking about different food and different dishes. And what I did was in my garden, I just not downloaded. I'm thinking like using my nerd brain to reason that. What I meant was I planted seeds a little while ago for my garden for the turnips, and I was researching them in which in September. As we're getting into the cooler months, they will start growing over the course of a couple of months, and the turnips are going to be really good, and I enjoy growing them. Oh, good grief. And also, I'll be interested to grow some more fall stuff as well. Okay, Amanda, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that you want to try them. Okay, and Amanda said, "Thank you, Alien. These surprise streams are awesome. I hope help grow your channel more." Thank you, Amanda. I hope so too, and I appreciate all the support from all of you. And Amanda said, "Sweet. I still need the tried turnips." Yes, absolutely. You sure do. You can eat them raw, but they're usually cooked. You can make them into mashed potatoes. You can make them into all kinds of different dishes with them. Yes, you could grow them in the fall. They are fall crops. They like the cooler weather, but you could grow them in the heat, but they prefer cooler weather. Yes. Like in Russia, they turnips is the thing over there. There's a lot of like in Timmy Turner, the cartoon, they were growing turnips in Timmy's home country. It was like Eastern Europe somewhere. And so and they also the Russia they have like these little stories and fairy tales about the giant turnip. So yeah, it's something out there. And one time Bina was telling me that they do like the cold, the turnips, because she's from Eastern Europe, so in a cold country. Well, actually, I'm sure it's cold over there, but it is like the Mediterranean part of Eastern Europe, and I'm sure it does snow there, but I'm not exactly 100% certain. But she still would know about that, and because she's in that region, so yeah, they do have cold tolerance. Yeah, yeah, yummy for sure, yummy for sure. And now I'm going to give you a recap on the Titanic. So the RMS Titanic was a British ocean liner that sank on April 15, 1912, as a result of sinking by striking an iceberg on her maiden voyage from Southampton, England to New York, United States. And of the estimated 2,224 passengers and crew aboard, 1,496 were deleted, making the incident the deadliest sinking of a single ship at the time. It's very ironic. It's very ironic. Sometimes they'll say like Americans don't get irony, but the British didn't get irony, and I'm half British, so it's okay. I'm not making fun of British people, but they don't get irony over there because this group of people that did the Titanic, because they built the unsinkable ship and it sunk, and it's still the deadliest sinking of a single ship in all time to date. So, as I said, it just they went straight into an iceberg. Yeah, shout out to the lurkers. Welcome lurkers. Yes, yes indeed. And so when they struck an iceberg, it caused a problem, obviously, because they didn't go right into the iceberg, but still if they went into the iceberg it still would have had problems. They should have used more wisdom about it. Wisdom is very important. That's what Stockton Rush didn't do. Like the Bible says, pride before the fall. That's what happened in this situation. They were given iceberg warnings, just as Stockton Rush was given warnings about trying to bring a submersible down to the depths of the ocean that was not certified and wasn't built correctly. And he was also given warnings. And he thought he knew more. He thought he knew better. But it led to his demise and many other people. And it's so crazy how the Titanic, in a way, took 4 more lives with that submersible incident. Titanic operated by the White Star Line. And White Star Line was this company, and it was part of this, Harlan and Wolff. And the White Star Liner was, a very famous ship company, and they built a lot of great ships, but they're famous because of the Titanic. And the White Star Line carried some of the wealthiest people in the world, as well as hundreds of immigrants from British Isles, Scandinavia, and elsewhere in Europe who were seeking a new life in the United States and Canada. The disaster drew public attention, spurred major changes in maritime safety regulations, and inspired lasting legacy of popular culture. Like in the new Merlin video I'm releasing soon, that there's Merlin is in popular culture in modern times. He's talked about. Now when I was a kid, I thought it was a little bit more in the center, but it was actually kind of close to the shore. Look at it in this picture. Right here, I'll get over here. I'll go and put another tab, and we'll go look at that. And yeah, so showing you in this other window. Right here. I'm showing you right now. All right. And we have to click it. And did it click? Let's see. I have to move this over. Nope. Okay. There we go. All right. So you see right here, Amanda, it was right by the shore. It was almost by the land. You see, it was it was like kind of nearly off the coast of Halifax. And it went to France, to Southampton, to Ireland, and it was like nearly by the shore, and it was over halfway to New York. Yeah, so it was more than halfway close. It was very unfortunate. They almost made it the whole way. Okay. The RMS, which means like Royal Mail Steamer, Titanic, was the largest ship afloat upon entering service, and the second three Olympic class ocean liners built for the White Star Line. The ship was built by Harlan and Wolff Shipbuilding Company in Belfast. Thomas Andrews, Jr., the chief naval architect of the shipyard, was deleted in the disaster. Titanic was under the command of Captain Edward John Smith, who went down with the ship. Yes, New York was where they were going. And there's also fan art about the Titanic making it into the shore. Making it, not the shore, but making it into the dock. And I'll show you another example of that. Titanic dock. Let's see. And, alright, here we go. Let's see, New York. Docking, New York. Alright, this is like some fan art of a hypothetical situation where it goes to New York. So that would have been, this is an alternate history scenario with the Titanic sailing into New York. And here's another one. No, that might be actually historically accurate. Let's see. Come on. Just some alternate history scenarios. That's another one. That's examples. That's an example of it heading into New York City. Yeah, Amanda, it is a beautiful ship, and also Amanda says, could you imagine if that never happened? How much history would have changed, and possibly all the good those people could have done? Yes, I know, Amanda, because with the Titanic sinking, all those stories, all those what those people could have done, right? It's all unknown, and that's why little tiny things, little tiny. It's like a feather effect, a butterfly effect. Like one little thing could affect another thing, and that's why every life's important, and basically little tiny things like that can change history. If they would have went a little bit slower, or if they would have hit an iceberg correctly, it wouldn't have sunk the whole thing. But by missing the iceberg a little bit, they still caused the ship sinking. But as I said, if they hit right into the iceberg, I think there still would have been a lot of injured people. If I was around, would have I went on the voyage? That's a very, very good question. I yes, Amanda. You know, like I'll tell you this: there's many people that had dreams that there's going to be a ship sinking during the Titanic situation, and the night before, like really the day before Hurricane Katrina happened, I had some weird dream about flooding. So if I had some premonition or a bad feeling or a dream or something about a ship sinking, I probably wouldn't have gone on it. But if I didn't have that premonition, I suppose I would have. But then again, I could have thought about if there was enough lifeboats on it or not, if something could have occurred. So I may have thought about it, but it's something I could have done possibly. But also, I would be suspicious of the lifeboats not having enough lifeboats for everybody because I'm the kind of person that anything could happen to anybody. That's why I like to be as careful as I can and focus on prayer and stuff because you never know anything can happen to anybody. But yeah, I certainly would have, especially if I felt safe. I certainly would have wanted to go on it probably at the time. It just depends, because I would have gone in there. They had a lot of nice Turkish baths, and it was very very nice. And they had these it was a very luxurious ship. Even if the people were going to be deleted later, they had a really good time on there before it happened. It's like you go down with style. So if I didn't have those premonitions, I probably would have gone on it as well. Mom, I'm talking about the Titanic. I know, but before I woke up, I had a dream about flooding. Amanda says, I probably would have gone on it. Kind of hard to pass that up. Oh yeah, and it's like we're all going to be deleted at some point anyway. If, and yeah, I would have gone on it too because it's like we're all going to be deleted at some point, and those people that were alive in that time period are not alive anymore, so they wouldn't have been alive in 2024 anyway. So yeah, sir, I absolutely would have liked to have gone on it too, Amanda. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's the way to end it. All right, so this is something very interesting. Yeah, so to answer your question, yes, I would have gone on it, and also that would be an opportunity to see. Absolutely. I've studied about this since I was in first or second grade, about second grade probably. Amanda says that's the way to end it. Yeah. So this is the Turkish bath, and this is all still intact. From what this is underwater when it sunk, and it's all like together. There's parts of the ship they cannot see. There's parts of it that people cannot see. People can't see things. exactly, they'll be remembered forever. And the other people are like because we remember all those people on that ship and their stories and all, but basically they were, the other people that weren't on it are NPCs. They're unknown, and they made movies about them and TV shows and all kinds of things about them and books about them. And like as I said, the famous quote I like to say, if it's the last day of your life, what would you do? That's the same kind of analogy that I have. And like 100 years from now, we're not gonna be here. So it's just best to have the great experience you could have. Okay, so the Turkish baths, they have these different sections in the ship. So this area you're seeing is where they had a waiting room, and basically you see right here, that would have been the waiting room. This is what it would look like. Hola Gam, my friend. Welcome to the Sunday special. And what's so special about the Turkish bath? So the Turkish bath, it's like a bunch of different water massaging rooms, you call it that, and they have these water machines, and it looks kind of like a scary torture chamber, but it's actually not. Like it feels good, it seems. But basically, like they have a couple of different rooms, and that's an example of like the waiting room. Like we were in the waiting room. If we were all like in the waiting room for the Turkish bath, that is what we would see. So basically, what would happen was they had this section where you would lay down, and remember, it's a little bit weird because you're wearing no clothes, and it's like one person at a time, I believe. And yeah, and there's somebody there that turns on the different water showers, and like you'll lay down on something, on this metal thing, and these water hoses, not hoses, but these little things like a shower heads, they'll spray water on you. And then this other one that looks real scary is like this cage that you're like inside of, and these like pin needle, like size of a pin needle water spouts, these little water hoses, and they all spray all over your body. And it's like a therapeutic thing, and people thought that they were really comfortable. And it was a luxurious thing. People really liked it back then. And so basically, reading a little bit more about it, let's see, can't find anything on it. So basically, what happens is, as I said, there's these different rooms where you have, it's like the Moorish style. So the Moors were in North Africa, and there was heating blankets, and it was just basically a bunch of water massaging rooms. Let's see if this works. See how this goes. Turkish baths were exclusive for the first class accommodations aboard the Olympic and the Titanic. They were located in F deck between the swimming bath and the third class dining room. The baths were designed in the Moorish style, with heating and blankets, and service waiters, passengers had visit the purser's office in C deck to get ticket in order to gain admission in the Turkish baths. Yes, it's like a spa. Yes. The baths were segregated by sex, available for men, available to women between 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., while men could enjoy the place between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. There was a large 4 shillings, 25 euro as of 2023, or $1, and 31 by 2023 per person for admission. The cooling room was a central feature of the Turkish baths, decorated in a mix of Moorish Arabic style, evoke a Turkish hammam. The walls were adorned with glossy blue green tiles, richly teak and bronze lamps. A similar kind of teak can be found in the deluxe parlor suites on B deck. Against one wall was marble drinking fountain. The ceiling was deeply recessed and painted a deep crimson, with the guided beams hanging lanterns. Supported pillars. Support. I read that correctly. Supported by pillars encased in teak. Unlike Olympic, the Titanic cooling rooms did not have an exterior, but still included fake portholes concealed by a caved Cairo curtain. The doorways were adorned with glided semi-domes to lend an exotic effect. Throughout the room, there were teak folding chairs, Damascus tables, and cushioned chais lounges for relaxation. And there were small curtains and crucibles for changing. Yeah, that's where we'll find Amanda. Yes. In between getting coffee in the dining room. Yes. Yes, that's where we would find Amanda, absolutely. Unfinished. Something that hasn't often been told about the Turkish baths is that they weren't ready for use at the start of her voyage. It was a complete mess, and half eaten sandwiches were lying around everywhere. Masseuse Maud had told the first hand she had to clean a lot of the rooms before it could be opened for business, so it couldn't be used until April 14th, though this couldn't be entirely true as Daisy sped in accounts to have used the Turkish bath on the morning of April 11th. So there's some ambiguity about when it started, but it really, like, people were using it throughout the voyage, but it wasn't completely intact until the night of the sinking. But I will say this, there's a lot of focus on the Titanic, but the Olympic was a lot like the Titanic, and it had the Turkish baths in it, Amanda, and all the stuff the Titanic had in it. And guess what? It didn't sink. It never sunk. And it was back in the old days, people were obsessed with the Olympic because it didn't sink. In our modern time, we're obsessed with the Titanic because it sunk. But back in the old days, people were obsessed with the Olympic because it was a ship that worked and it didn't sink. Shout out to all of you here. I appreciate everybody that's here. Art. Ken Marshall has illustrated many parts of the Titanic, including the Turkish baths. Other artists, such as an unnamed artist in 1911, had drawn similar rooms to Turkish baths on the Olympic. Wreck. The Turkish baths were flooded slowly during the sinking and weren't damaged, and the place is still in good condition today. James Cameron once visited the wreck site and the walls as well. The tiles were all still intact. In popular culture, so far only the movie featuring the Turkish baths is 1979, which shows the first class passengers Irene Harris and Margaret Brown taking an electric bath. Yeah, that's right. Also in the Titanic, there's an electric bath in there. It didn't electrocute you, but there is a bath that was run electrically. While attendant Maud Slocum is massaging passengers while the Countess of Roths and Madeline Astor are relaxing. At the same time, Milton Long and Jack Thayer were taking a peek. Alien, have you ever looked at different menus they had in the Titanic? I'd like to try remake some of those food. Yes, actually, if you recall on the stream when Stranded called in, Her and I went over the entire menu of the entire ship. Yeah, well, we did one time. Yeah, so those are the different rooms. Alrighty. Tasting History Channel has remade a lot of the things. Oh, that's really cool. That's awesome. Thank you for telling us. All right, so this is the Titanic swimming pool. There's some different versions of it. Yeah, so this was the swimming pool in the Titanic. And, you know, they actually can never access the swimming pool in the Titanic because the flood compartment doors are frozen shut. So the way they could get into the swimming pool room is by opening the flood compartment doors, and you technically can do it with a crank. It's still intact. Like, you could get a machine to uncrank the Titanic flood compartment doors, but they're not doing it. But so they don't even know what it looks like in there, where the pool is. Well, that's what the pool looked like. Here's another view of it. And this may not be the most accurate version of it, but that is one of the swimming pool for Titanic. And it's very, very nice. Very nice. As I said, Amanda, I would have loved to have gone on the Titanic. In spite of the sinking situation, I would have loved to have gone on it. And that is like the view of it also. But, that's like the sun coming in. And yeah, it's very nice. Very beautiful. And it's just lost the time. And I think that they're saying, yeah, that might be on one of the other ships. Okay, that's Britannic, probably. Alright, so that's like this. Okay, that's the pool in Britannic. Britannic is Titanic's sister ship. So that is not Titanic when you see in the picture right here. That's Britannic. Britannic was sunk because it hit a mine, a water mine, and the flood compartment doors got jammed, and they couldn't close the doors, and it just kind of fell underwater. Yeah, it just kind of like glided through. Right, I don't think so either, Amanda. It's truly, I love the old fashioned luxury to it. I think cruise ships now are cool, but it just, I like this type of style, this Victorian style. They should make, I believe they should make more ships like this, just with enough lifeboats. And also, with the lifeboats, that was really the main problem with the Titanic. If it had enough lifeboats, most of the people would have survived. And I will say, in most, I don't want to jinx myself, so I'm speaking hypothetically. Hypothetically, in most situations, if the Titanic had a problem, or a Titanic type ship, it may not be lethal. But the Titanic was a very rare situation where the entire side of the ship was cut open. But like the Costa Concordia, the Titanic would have been perfectly fine in that situation. It wouldn't have sunk or anything. It would have still been going. But the Costa Concordia sunk because it did. The flood compartment thing was a good idea, but the problem is if it hits something and 5 flood compartments are opened, you have a problem. So, and I don't want to jinx myself, so I'm being hypothetical. Because, this ship can't sink, but it sinks. Or there's something I'm overlooking. and this person was overlooking, and so, but anything could sink horribly. So, but it would be nice to have ships like this again, but with built better to withstand the sinkings and a bunch of lifeboats. Yeah, I know, Amanda. Things used to be so nice. Like we were looking at the castles the other night, and man, they just modern architecture is just disgraceful. Yeah, that's another picture of it. I like the simplicity of it. It's very very nice. On a side note here, this is Britannic. Well, this is a picture of Britannic's pool. Yeah, it's statue. Those are people, I think. But those people, although it's a painting, the people look like statues. It looks so nice. Yeah, but that is one of the other ones in the Titanic sister ships. I'll show you a picture of Britannic. All right, so Britannic was used as a warship, but it wasn't in conflict. It was just transporting. It was like a medical ship. So Britannic looked just like the Titanic, but they repainted it and put a red cross on it because it was a hospital ship. It's like a floating ambulance. And this is Britannic sinking. And it hit. And in Britannic hit a landmine, a water mine, not a landmine, but a water mine, and it went under. And that is the sinking of the Britannic. See, now they thought Titanic sunk in one piece, but Britannic actually sunk in one piece. All right, and Amanda tells me exactly they used to be beautiful. Amanda says, "Alien, did they never rebuild the Titanic?" Good question. They never rebuilt the Titanic to date. There is a Titanic museum in Tennessee. There is Titanic. There is Titanic type stuff, like museums and things like that, but they never rebuilt it. There's an Australian billionaire that was saying since 2013 that he was supposed to have it rebuilt, and he was going to have the luxury liner again, but it never happened. I'll show you what it looked like. Yes, yes, absolutely. All right, so this is the model of Titanic 2 that was supposed to be built. And you see it has the lifeboats on the side of the ship like a modern cruise ship does, and it would have had enough lifeboats. And China was supposed to build a model of it, but they didn't go through with it. Like that, is an example of it being constructed. Like the Chinese are trying to build a model of it. Because I thought that was the prototype. I mean, I thought that was the Australian billionaire ship, but that's actually something the Chinese are making as a separate project, apparently. But yeah, but anyway, that's an exhibit. It was never built. And it would be called Blue Star Liner. It doesn't mean that one day this Titanic 2 will be constructed. It's for some reason it's never been constructed. Hey Bubbles. Amanda's in the chat. Bubbles says hello. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you. All right. Also, what we have here is the Titanic. It's a Titanic museum. We'll look at that. Come on, buddy. All right. So this is the Titanic museum. The Titanic museum, right here. Hey, Danny. Good to see you, my friend. See you, brother. Come on, Bubbles. Come on. The people want to see you. Come on, buddy. Alright, so basically, that's the Titanic Museum. So that's like a model of it being reconstructed. And that's some of the interior of it. I'll show you all some more of the interior of it. Oh, yes. Come on, buddy. Come on, come on. Ah. Amanda loves you, Bubbles. She's glad that you said hello. Alright, this is the inside of the Titanic Museum. You see, it's decorated for like Christmas in that one. So, Amanda, there you go. That's like a replica of Titanic, or a piece of Titanic was reconstructed into the Titanic Museum. But that is the reconstruction of it. Yeah, I know. I'm certainly going to go there one day. We're going to have to all take an alien field trip there. All right. And then you have this situation right here. That is some of the rooms, the bunks. Those are some more areas of it. So that was more like the third class cabins and the second class ones. This is, I'd say, more the third class cabins. This is the first class. Yeah, you see right there, you got that situation. They have some animations of the people there, and you have, very nice luxury first class rooms. And here's another view of it. Did it go through? Okay, then we got it that time. I clicked it. Yeah, so that's another one. And on the history tour, that's right. Well, Danny, we got an alien submersible that we could go down and see it. And yeah, but with the museum, yeah, it's very nice and luxurious, and it just looks exactly like it did. Very cool, very cool. And then this is another view of the grand staircase. Very beautiful, very luxurious. It looks just like the same thing. That's why I love about the model ships and the model stuff you could create, because it's like, why you they gave you the exact blueprint and measurements, and then you could just rebuild the whole thing exactly like it was before because of the instructions. That's what I like about blueprints and stuff, because you could build it exactly how it was instructed to be. Hey, Kathy. Good to see you, friend. It is great to see you and everybody else. And on Sunday, I am starting to do the earlier lives on Sunday again. Yes, and right now we're talking about the Titanic, different stuff about it. And we previously just talked about the Turkish baths. And it was basically like a spa of a different water contraptions. Which they also had an electric shower, but it wasn't like what you're thinking of. Like, you don't get electrocuted, but electricity is used for some of the showers from the Titanic. Right. So yeah, and those are some people on it. You can see right here. And you have that. You know, these people just walking through and seeing it. You can see the different people and how it contrasts to how people dress back in the day to how people dress now. But, like, I'd say that would be a nice place to dress up fancy. I remember at school they used to have Fancy Friday. They let us dress in suits and stuff. And I used to I always like wearing my suit there at the school on the Fancy Friday. And if I was in the Titanic, I'd certainly wear some fancy outfit, or at least what Jack wore, at the least, or a suit, something like that. But nothing wrong with people dressing like that there. I think it's fine, but just showing you all a contrast between like how people dress then and now. It's very cool. And we got this other, people doing like the Titanic movie thing, and that's the deck, and you could see, the exact replica of the deck. Yes, yes, Kathy, absolutely. Yeah, and then we have that right there, and then we have this life jacket right here. That is a life jacket from the Titanic, very historical. Yeah, so basically, oh, another thing I want to say, Kathy, the other day I saw that Telus, he did an interview from jail with Court TV through the phone, and it's like it's separated by a window or like a computer screen. They're talking through the phone in the jail, and Telus is still maintaining his innocence, and but he obviously did it, and he had an interview about his different. He thought he could convince the jury, but he warned his family he may not have convinced the jury, and he was texting his wife at the time, but we all know that he's full of nonsense. And besides that, everything's cut up with the trial news. Besides that, that was the thing I talked about the other night. Yeah, so this is a very interesting picture. I like the fact there's a Titanic museum because it's nice to see it. I would have gone on it if I could, the Titanic. But this is really cool about how you can see all these things. Like you could see that's where they're piloting the ship, and just like the movie. And I'll tell you, Amanda, with the Titanic movie, they actually didn't completely construct the whole ship. They just constructed a part of it and used mirrors to make it look like both sides of the ship were constructed, but they were only able to do one part of the ship, like half of it. Like one half was the ship, the other side was just all skeleton. It was just so only had one half, but they mirrored it so both sides look like they could be put together. And as we said, the family of Nargeolet is suing Ocean Gate for what they did. Oh yeah, Kathy, I know, right? Yeah, he's very innocent. He said he was trying to say he was texting his wife during the time, and the person took his vehicle and did it. But look, if he would have had the attorney deal with it, he would have had a better situation. But when he went and defended himself, he got himself a shovel and he started digging his hole. But as I said, wink, wink, he very innocent. Yeah. Yes, it's amazing, Amanda, with the Titanic. Yes. All right. So also we have right here, we have Nargeolet, rest in peace, and he's looking at the Titanic. You could see in this model. Yes, and Kathy's saying for the record, Robert Tellis deleted a reporter in Las Vegas. Yeah. So basically, on the other Sunday stream, Kathy, I was telling Danny and some of the others about that case, and I was showing them Tellis' spacesuit and the cringe face he has and the different evidence against him. Yeah, and yeah, Danny thought he was cringe too. Yeah, and oh yeah, okay. Amanda was wondering about the who Tellis was. Yeah, so basically Tellis was, as Kathy said, he, which I've talked about before on the streams. So there's been so many streams, Amanda, I can understand. So may not remember everything. So basically, Tellis was supposed to be, he deleted the reporter in Las Vegas because he was a Democrat politician, and it doesn't matter which party he was in, it still was wrong what he did, and he deleted the Gurman who was trying to report about the corruption he was doing, and he went and he found him and he deleted him in broad daylight wearing a space looking suit. Yeah, definitely guilty. Absolutely, I agree. I agree with that. So that's just to give a little background about him. And he went on the stand and he ranted about his life and he was talking about why he was innocent. But the prosecutor was showing him his vehicle. The evidence was in his house. It was on his fingers. It's like the assassin had to be in the IMF for Mission Impossible. He had to be Tom Cruise or something to pull that off. So yeah. But the Tellis interview is very interesting to watch. It's very cringe. He can't stop being in the spotlight. All right. So this is a Titanic model, and you can see all the paint and stuff on it is faded away, and it's just lodged in deep into the soil. Well, deep into the sand of the ocean floor. He was deleted outside of his home. And so Tellis, with his little spacesuit, he went and found Gurman outside of his home and deleted him. And some of his neighbors found his friends. They found his body a couple of days later or so. Yeah, so that it was outside, and he was stabbed in the neck and the heart. Oh yeah, absolutely, Amanda. Absolutely. Hey, Amy. Good to see you. This is the early Sunday stream. Okay, Danny. Oh, the man had a family, and he was a very respected journalist in his community. And people in the chat room that were in the area were saying that with Tellis, not Tellis, but Mr. Gurman that was deleted, he was very loved and respected, and he wrote about like the mafia. He wrote about these different things. He did reports through his journalism, and he was very loved and respected and liked by fans and his family. It's very sad what happened. And also in Tellis's new interview from jail, he was saying that he thought that basically Mr. Gurman was wrong for talking about him, but he should have been deleted, and it was just crazy what happened. He didn't even say like condolences for the family. He just said it's crazy. So yeah, he just can't stay out the spotlight, and he's doing his interview at Court TV and a couple other news stations. All right, and now we have the picture of the violin. Did it go? Did it work? All right, so this is a picture of the violin that was used when the ship was going down, and the guy and when Wallace played it as the ship was going under. Very historic. And over here you could see one of the lifeboats. And he didn't have enough of them. Very unfortunate. And going back to Tellus for a second. Come on, mouse. Okay. Mouse is taking its time to go up the page. All right. So basically you can see from this, this is Tellus, and the guy in one of the pictures with the Mr. Gurman's in one of the pictures, and yeah, so he's the guy that did this, and he deleted Mr. Gurman, and basically he, when they broad daylight, he took his vehicle, he wore some disguise with a hat and wearing like an orange outfit, and he went and deleted him. Alright, mouse is working again. Thank God. It's acting goofy. Alien, what was the coolest item they recovered from the Titanic? I will say one thing about the Titanic that's really cool they recovered from it is a piece of the wall of the side of the ship. They took a piece of the side of the ship and brought it up and put it in a museum. Also, what they found was, I believe, one of the funnels. Like, that's just cool. Like, a piece of the ship was brought back up. They're all cool artifacts, but to me, being a piece of the ship back up is pretty incredible. And bring Tellus. That's not what I meant. Tellus disguise. How about that? Alright, so just a recap from last week and from what I've been talking about. This is Tellus in his office, and the guy on the left you see with the hat and the gloves and the long sleeved pants. That's Tellus's genius disguise in broad daylight to go assassinate Mr. Gurman. And pieces of the hat were found in his house. His DNA was in his fingers, according to DNA analysts. And, like, it's the same vehicle he has. It's the same exact vehicle he has. So, and then he has a smug look on his face. And yeah, it's like you could find pieces of the hat in his house, but he didn't do it. He gets coal from Christmas from Santa Claus. Hey, Bubbles. You're glad to see people in the live stream? Yeah, Bubbles is right here, and he told everybody hello again. Tellus vehicle. We'll get back to the Titanic in a moment. Alright, and this is the vehicle the person was driving in. And it looks just like his vehicle. Right here. It's crazy. See, that's his vehicle. They told you hello, Bubbles. Don't chase your tail. Don't do that. It's gonna be okay. And I'll show Jeff Gurman. Yeah, the Space Street. Yes. Alright, this is the person that was deleted. This is Mr. Gurman, the journalist. And actually, there you go. It looks like that's Mr. Gurn with Tellus. That's what it seems like. And yeah, so that was the one, and he wrote an article about Tellus. Yes, Amanda. And he was the one. He wrote articles about him, exposing stuff he was doing and causing to lose an election. And that's the guy that was deleted. And he was loved and respected by his fans in the community, and also he was loved and respected by the people that he loved dearly, his family. All right, this is the piece of Titanic that they recovered. I didn't get my thing of water though. I'm walking over there and coming right back. All right. But yeah, so this is a piece of the Titanic that was recovered. That's really cool to me. I am back. Let's see, how did I have this before? Microphone. All right, that is done correctly. Okay. So, further continuing, Amanda says, so what did he report that got deleted for Alien? So basically, what the reporter was doing, he was talking about like affairs that Tellus was having, with one of the people in the office, and also Tellus was having, he wasn't that nice to the staff and stuff, and his behavioral issues, and like saying like he's cheating on his wife and things like that, and this kind of stuff ruined his reputation, which is something that Tellus brought on himself though, and then it caused him to lose an election, re-election. So he was extremely angry, but he claims that it's crazy what happened and it shouldn't have happened. Although he ruined his reputation, it shouldn't have happened, he said, and he did not do it, he claims. And it's crazy what happened. But basically, what happened was Tellus got so angry that he went and deleted Gurman because, said, slander, not slander because he really did do it, but Tellus feels that, he feels he was slandered, maybe, but I think he confirmed, in my opinion, that stuff may have been happening. I don't really recall, like, if he said that was true or not, but basically, it's a fact that he did do those things, this sketchy stuff behind the scenes, and it was published by Mr. Gurman, and it caused his reputation to be ruined, and then it caused him to have a bad reputation, and no one voted for him, or not enough people voted for him to be reelected. And it's Tellus's fault for cheating and treating people incorrectly and doing stuff with people in there. He was the one that brought it on himself. Okay, because if somebody's making up stuff about you, it doesn't matter. Like, the truth will come out eventually. We see this all the time. Like, they'll slander people and they'll have trials and things, but the person's innocent. They're innocent. One of my friends was having a problem one time. At one time, an incident that happened at his school, and I told him, it's like, if you didn't do anything, you didn't do anything. And the thing happened and he was innocent because he didn't do anything. It's like, but Tellus was brought all that himself, and he's his own worst enemy. Kathy said even he has to realize that you can't go around deleting reporters. That would be insane. That is insane. Yeah, exactly. That's just psychotic anger to do that. And he thought he'd get away with everything. But Tellus claims an assassin took his identity and framed him. That he didn't do it, but someone else did. That's what he claims. But when he got on the stand and started talking and all the evidence, it really seems like he did it. Oh, yeah. So basically, what Tellus was doing was, I'll look up the what it's exactly called right here. He, it has to do with helping people with these like homes and things like that. He like Tellus was an attorney, and let's see, what was it exactly? Let's see. All right, here we go. Robert Tellus, Democratic Party, was a Clark County public administrator in Nevada. He was so Clark County Public Administrator in Nevada. Tellus assumed office in 2019. Tellus left office in 2022. Tellus, Democratic Party, ran for re-election for Clark County Public Administrator in Nevada. Tellus lost the Democratic primary on 14 June 2022. So that's what he was, Amanda. And he was an attorney. Even Steele, the chief defender for Jeffrey Williams, had Ashley Merchant defend him when he was in the spot. He got a bunch of attorneys to defend him. So even Steele didn't defend himself when he was held in contempt. DJ, my bro. Ew, Sunday fun day. Good to see you, friend. Hola, DJ. Yeah, very shady for sure, Danny. Yeah. And also, yeah, that's a piece of Titanic being raised up. Yeah, that's a Titanic being raised. Well, that's so cool. After all that time, they're able to do that. You're welcome, Amanda. Something very interesting about that part of the ship you see right there. With the bow. Is that there's a pulley system where they had some cables right there on the bow. And guess what? It still works all these years later underwater. They got one of the robot drones underwater to pull the cord up and down, and the thing works without any WD-40, without any oil or lubricant, frozen shut underwater. It works like a charm. There's a light bulb, I believe, somewhere that's been on for a very, very long time. But as I said, they build things now, goofy. They're like made in China stuff. But the Titanic failed, but there's some stuff on it that was like built to last forever. And another thing, the fact that the Titanic it went through a free fall, and it smashed into the ocean floor. And now the stern fell apart. Okay, it completely fell apart. But this thing was tough to go down and just be in one piece like that, and parts of it still work. And as I said, the reason it cannot be fixed. I mean, that didn't make any sense. The reason why the pool in Titanic cannot be examined is because the watertight compartment door, and with the watertight door, Amy says that's crazy awesome that they were able to bring that up after so long. Oh, absolutely. Titanic. Yes, absolutely, Amy. It seems. It's a replica of it. It may have been real, but it seems like it's a replica. And also, right here, this was from the movie. Like, this specific scene was from the Titanic movie. And yes, it is all very, very cool. All right, so we have that. We talked about the Turkish baths and little bubbles. And the Titanic was known to be unsinkable, by the way. And also, with this reputation of being unsinkable, it's kind of ironic that it sunk on its maiden voyage. And the Titanic was equipped with 16 lifeboat divots, each capable of lowering the 3 lifeboats for a total capacity of 48 lifeboats, despite the capacity ship was scantily equipped with a total of only 20 lifeboats. Fourteen of these were regular lifeboats, were cutter lifeboats, and considered four were considered collapsible lifeboats. Yes, the replica is very cool. I agree. Oh, I agree, Amy. It is very difficult to get it out of the ocean. Because having to attach it and put it, having to attach it and put it together, it very is tedious. Kathy says, I remember reading the National Geographic issue that covered the discovery of the Titanic when I was at the dentist. It was amazing. Yes, I'm old. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I remember when, well, I wasn't there, but I remember learning about the history when it was discovered. I want to do something real quick to fix this situation we're having. It might do it a little bit, but we're going to fix this situation. All right. It, I think when I went to that place, it caused it. Okay. No. Let's see. That. So I guess we'll see. So basically, yeah, Kathy said she was reading about it in National Geographic issue covered when she was at the dentist. Well, that's very cool that you were there at that time and you got to see that. I've only learned about it in history. And I remember I was studying the history about it recently when they were trying to discover the Titanic. And what happened was they went and were looking for it for a very long time. The Titanic. They were looking for the Titanic for a very long time. And they had a couple of different people that were trying to look for it. And they even had a monkey. Yeah, there was a monkey that was good at finding things. and they were going to try to get the monkey to go and look for the Titanic by pointing at the map. And you guessed it, the very intelligent monkey was not able to find the Titanic where it was, but it doesn't mean the monkey wasn't smart, because they have smart monkeys. It's just that it's a needle in a gigantic haystack. And there was a guy in the military that was looking for it, and the other guy was like a businessman, and these people were trying to look for it, and the army made an agreement that if they would help him find the Titanic, if they could use the equipment he was using for the army, because they built a new submersible thing to try to find it, like a radar scanner. And the other guy, the businessman who was trying to look for it, he found this. He thought he found a piece of metal similar to what we saw for a minute ago, but it's actually, we don't know what exactly he saw because they couldn't find that piece again, but he was not near the site. So the guy in the military, they eventually found it through sonar radar, and it was right when they're about to give up and go back home. It was like the last day or something like that, and they found it. And it made national news, and Kathy got to see it on her National Geographic magazine. And that was a very cool time period. Very cool time period. I like movies from back then and stuff like that. And the music, was really cool too. And Amy says, I cannot imagine how difficult it would be to get that out the ocean. Amy, I totally agree. That really is a pain in the arse, because they would have to get these, cranes and stuff to, okay, Danny, thank you, to then pull the thing back up. Now, there's different theories about what happened where you would pull the Titanic back up, which they were saying that it most likely would not work. And, you have these people that like to go down the street real fast during the daytime, as you can see, they like to do stuff like that. Yeah, I got a cat here in my mouth. Well, this is kind of like, we're still talking about the Titanic, but I'm going to show you all bubbles. Alright. Alright, this is Bubbles right here. He's hanging out on my lap. When I watch the trials and stuff, he talks to me, because I go over there in his blue blanket and we hang out. But right now, he's hanging out with me here. And he's happy. He's glad to see all of you, see? And you see part of me that's in the sun is more tan. The other side that's not in the sun as frequently is not tan. But anyway, so that's cat. I'm about to see what y'all are saying, because I have to go back to the window. Okay. All right, and so that is Bubbles, and he is glad to see all of you. And right here, you see this thing right here. This is a night that was given to me during Hurricane Katrina when I was in Pensacola. And my mom's aunt's daughter gave it to me, because I saw it. I'm like, wow, you got a night. I want that. And then she gave it to me. And as I said, that's another good thing that came out of that storm. And this cabinet was here since, the 50s probably, when Sonny lived here, the other guy, before he was deleted, unfortunately. All right. DJ says, I kind of thought they were ground control cats, not space cats. I never noticed. Also, DJ says, oops, I went backwards. My bad. It's all good. Also, Amy says that's awesome. Yes, yes, absolutely, it is awesome. Yes. And we're going to go back to the other window so people could see what's going on. Yeah, and why were we talking about the lifeboats? Not the storm, the night, and bubbles is precious. Yes, thank you, Amy. Exactly. Yeah, Kathy. Yeah, they get cranked up around here. They get cranked up, and also sometimes they're not doing it now, but sometimes people will blast music real loud. Also, and y'all haven't heard it yet, but sometimes there's pew pews in the distance. Also, you'll hear sometimes. Thank you, Kathy, about bubbles. Yeah, with the pew pews. I remember one time I was starting a stream and it started with some pew pews and up out in the distance somewhere, and it's, well that's New Orleans, but it's a cool city. It's very excited. It's a wild city. All right. And in Titanic had advanced safety features such as watertight compartments and remotely activated watertight doors, which contributed to the ship's reputation of being unsinkable. Like as I said, a lot of ship sinkings we've seen in recent times, the Titanic would have been fine, but Titanic had a freak accident. It just sometimes you can't prepare for the unpreparable. Bubbles is so cute. All right. And Bubbles, they'll tell you hello, and you're very pretty. They said. All right. Titanic was equipped with 16 lifeboats, davits, each capable of lowering 3 lifeboats for a total capacity of 48 boats. Despite this capacity, the ship was scantily equipped with a total of only 20 lifeboats. 14 of these were regular lifeboats, 2 were cutter lifeboats, 4 were collapsible, provided difficult to launch while the ship was sinking. Together, 20 lifeboats could hold 1,178 people, roughly half of the number of passengers on board, and a third number of the passengers in the ship could have carried at a full capacity, a number consistent with the maritime safety regulations of the era. The British Board of Trade's regulation required 14 lifeboats for a ship of 10,000 tons. Titanic carried 6 more than required. Man, they had some poor standards back then, allowing 338 extra people to room the lifeboats. Another problem with Titanic was they didn't have a lot of people. They didn't have ships that were close by to help them. Another thing they may have been counting on was other ships to go and help them out, but they were too far away. Titanic carried 6 more than required, along 338 extra people room in lifeboats. When the ship sank, the lifeboats that had been lowered were only filled to an average of 60%. So it wasn't even completely filled. Completely. The Titanic derives from the Titans of Greek mythology, built in Belfast, Ireland, in what was the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. The RMS Titanic was the second of the Olympic class ocean liners. The lead vessel was RMS Olympic. And the final ship in the class was HMHS Britannic. They were by far the largest vessels of the British ship company, White Star Line's fleet, which comprised 29 steamers and tenders in 29. I said 2019. I really had a moment there. In 1912, rather. The three tenders in 1912. The three ships had their genesis in a discussion in mid 1907 between the White Star Line's chairman J. Bruce Ismay and the American financier J.P. Morgan, which is greedy, who controlled the White Star Line's parent corporation, the International Mercantile Marine Company. Yeah, so last time we were talking about orbs, and the orbs, it's like this ball lightning, and it's like kind of like these UFOs people are seeing. And we were talking about in the 1400s, one of the orbs crashed into a church and deleted some people and injured a couple other people, and it crashed into some ships. And we were talking about the scientific stuff about what's in it, and there's like copper and a couple of different chemicals in it. And the thing about the other thing was with the orbs is that those things aren't really too nice to do all that stuff, and today they're still floating around aggravating people. So basically we got in a conversation about Tesla, Nikola Tesla, because I was talking about the Wi-Fi that we all use and like what's being used right now. That was invented by him, so to give people wireless electricity. And when you have so we were supposed to have wireless electricity similar to Wi-Fi, and like the Wi-Fi extender over there that brings the Wi-Fi over here is like a little Tesla coil. It's kind of like a similar invention from derived from what he invented. But because of greedy things that happened, J.P. Morgan, they're telling me, was one of the companies that worked with Edison. Not that Edison didn't do inventions and things, but they kind of manipulated it, and they didn't give Nikola Tesla the rightful credit that he deserved from inventing these things. And he wanted everybody to have electricity, but they kind of twisted things around. So mentioning the J.P. Morgan, it's kind of it seems like there's some shady stuff going on, it seems, in my opinion. And also the Titanic. The J.P. Morgan, the funny thing about him, he didn't go on the Titanic's voyage. Like Amanda and I were talking about if we go on the Titanic, but he canceled his trip. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories about it, but they were just saying, like, the mainstream version is that he canceled it because something came up. And also, people that were opposing the Federal Reserve were also on the ship, and they went down with it. So I'm not, as I said, so that is kind of a separate thing about the conspiracy theories about it. But I think it was an accident that happened, and it was unfortunate, and they just, were being arrogant and overestimating what the Titanic could actually handle, and they didn't crash into it. So if you crash into the Titanic directly, only 2 flood compartments would have been broken, and it wouldn't have sunk, because it was designed to hit an iceberg and be okay. But when you glide the Titanic and it side swipes it, and nearly half the ship, half of the ship was cut open. When there's 5 flood compartments broken, it goes down, and it causes a domino effect. And that's what happened with the Titanic sinking. And it was an accident, and same thing, and it was also arrogance. They got iceberg warnings, but they didn't care. And then another thing, like with Stockton Rush, he ignored all the warnings. He got the parts from Home Depot when they were on sale. He got some pipes. I'm not joking. He got stuff from Home Depot, and he got his wireless game controller, and it worked a couple of times, but he imploded, and the Titanic took 4 more victims. So, as the scripture says, pride before the fall. So we gotta not let pride and stuff get the best of us, and use wisdom. White Star Line faced increasing challenges from the main rival's Cunard Line with the aid of the Royal Navy. Had recently launched the twin sister ships Lusitania and Mauretania. Mauretania was mentioned in the Titanic movie. The fastest passenger ships then in the service in the German lines Hamburg America and Deutscher Lloyd. Ismay preferred to compete on size rather than speed and proposed to the Commission a new class of liners larger than anything that had come before, which would be the last word in comfort and luxury. I remember from the Titanic movie, he was talking about luxury, and he was talking about all that stuff, and at the table, and that's basically like what he liked. The new ships would have sufficient speed to maintain a weekly service with only 3 ships instead of the original 4. Olympic and Titanic would replace the RMS Titanic of 1818. It was 1881, actually, not 1818. All right, so that is one of them. And the RMS Majestic. And the RMS Adriatic, 1907. RMS Oceanic, first to depart from a new home port in June of 1907, along with the Titanic, Majestic, and new Adriatic on the Southampton to New York run. So you had a couple of predecessors of this ship, and they had a couple of different ones that came before it. And this was the newest version, and it had a lot of safety features in it. But as I said, they got overconfident. Even when studying, I like studying things about, I say this all the time, because I can apply it to all kinds of things. I like studying about warfare and ancient warfare, and blind bravery without forethought can lead someone into an ambush. That's basically what they did with Titanic. They led themselves into an ambush by an iceberg. So, and Bruce Ismay has been criticized because he was the guy that said that there shouldn't be a lot of lifeboats on Titanic because he thought it looked ugly with the lifeboats on it. And he got on a lifeboat when the ship started to sink. But they're saying that, now they're saying scholarly that he didn't do anything wrong by going on the lifeboat because he saved a lot of people, and he didn't go on it right away, and he saved a lot of people, and there was like a space for him, and he just took the opportunity to get on it. It's kind of ironic. And also he said in his statements later, after the event, that he regretted not going down with the ship. And he felt very bad about the Titanic sinking. But Tellus wouldn't have taken any responsibility if he was the director of Titanic. He wouldn't have taken any responsibility for it. So I like the dignity and honor. There are some shady people, like some of the people dressed as women to get on the lifeboats because they didn't want to go down with it. So you had some shady people, and you had some crime and stuff, and in that time period. I don't know if I recall any criminal activity on Titanic itself. I have to look that up, but people had a great sense of honor back then, and I could really appreciate and admire what they did back in that time, because it's something I wish there would be more of now. And Thomas Andrews was last seen, like in a Titanic movie, he was changing the clock in that movie, and many other movies that preceded that movie show him in that room where the clock was and the fireplace was, because that's where he was last seen. Some sources say he was seen after that helping some people before it went down completely, but he was never seen again. And the captain was seen going into that room where they pilot the ship, and he locked himself in there. because it's like he's supposed to get off the ship when everybody on board is safely off, but he didn't do that. Because no one could safely get off the ship because of obvious situations. So he did the honorable thing. I'll say it again. So he did the honorable thing of going down with the ship because that was the conduct. With the Costa Concordia, that guy, he actually swam to shore, and he said he would direct everything from the shore. But the National Guard was telling him over there in Italy, you got to go back to the ship and help the people. And the guy was begging him to do it, but he said he could help better from the shore. And there's still people on there trying to get off of it. As I tell you, things these days, people are not like how they used to be. People don't have a sense of honor. And yeah, and basically, and I built a model Titanic in 2015 when I was in school, and I was obsessed with it. And one night there was some stuff going on outside, and I had to go in. And then I went in my room, and I just put the thing together quickly, and it was very nice. I enjoyed it. Also, let's see. Okay. And also, I'll say that it's September 1st, and what I'm going to start doing this month and the next month. I'll be talking about, which I've started with the last few streams. I'm going to be talking about some scary topics. I mean, like some spooky topics for Halloween. And, like, there's this thing called, I was talking about, which I'll talk about again. Let's see. Like, there's this thing called, I was talking about in the last one, called Willow the Wisp. It's this type of cryptid thing. And you see, that's them. And basically, it's this little fireball thing. And it's in relation to jack-o'-lantern. And so, in the original jack-o'-lantern was actually a turnip that he put a candle in it and a face on it and started walking around with it. But when the Celtic immigrants from Scotland and Ireland came to America, they made it into a pumpkin because it's much bigger. I'll briefly touch on this, and then I will talk about food. In folklore, Will-o'-the-Wisp is an atmospheric ghost light seen by travelers at night, especially over the bogs, swamps, and marshes. The phenomenon is known in much of European folklore by a variety of names, including jack-o'-lantern, friar's lantern, and hinky-punk, and is said to mislead travelers by resembling a flickering lamp or lantern. In literature, Will-o'-the-Wisp metaphorically refers to a hope or goal that leads one on but is impossible to reach, or something one finds strange or sinister. Wills the Wisp appear in folklore and folk tales and traditions and legends of numerous countries and cultures. Notable names, examples is St. Louis Light, Sac, Atchwan, the Spook Light, southwestern Missouri, northeastern Oklahoma, Naga Fireballs on the Mekong in Thailand, the Paulding Light, Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and Hesteln Light of Norway. In folklore, wills o' the wisp are typically attributed as ghosts, fairies, or elemental spirits. And modern science explains the light aspect of natural phenomena such as bioluminescence, chiroluminescence, caused by oxidation of phosphine, diacephane, and methane produce organic decay. Yes, it's September already. Yes. The term will o' the wisp comes from wisp, a bundle of sticks or paper, sometimes used as a torch, and the name will thus meaning will of the torch. The term jack o' lantern, jack of the lantern, originally referred to a will o' the wisp in the United States. They are often called spook lights, ghost lights, or orbs by folklorists. You see, this is a wisp, and he's just chilling in the forest. And this is in Asia. That's the Japanese version. This is some Japanese art of their own wisp, and it's all over the world, in like Asia and different places. In Americas, they have these sightings of these paranormal things. Also, it's known as a goblin light. Similar phenomenon described in Japanese folklore, including Hito Dama, literally human soul, as a ball of energy, Haino Tama, ball of flame, Abra Gay. And I may be kind of butchering this. Sarah isn't at the moment here to correct me, but and she may be listening. But so this is I'm gonna do my best with this. But anyway, continuing. Ko and Bon Ebi and issue on E by etc. All these phenomena are described as associated with the graveyards. Kitsune, mythological yokai demons are also associated with will o' the wisp, with marriage of two kinsoon producing a kinsoon by, literally meaning foxfire. But I'm used to the thing called Firefox, the web application. These phenomena described as shinguru. I remember we were talking about this last time, and I may have forgotten how to pronunciation. But anyway, Ms. Mizuki's 1985 book, Graphic World of Japanese Phantoms. So that's one from Japan, and we're going down the list. Let's see. The idea of will-o'-the-wisp phenomenon began caused by natural gas light can be found in 1596. And an Australian equivalent known as the Midman light is reportedly seen in parts of the outback after dark. The majority of sightings are reported to have occurred in the Channel Country region. Stories about the lights can be found in Aboriginal myth predating Western settlement of the region and have since become part of the wider Australian folklore. Indigenous Australians hold that the number of sightings has increased alongside increasing ingression of Europeans in the region. It's okay, Danny. I appreciate you hanging in there. According to folklore, the lights sometimes followed or approached people and have disappeared upon fired upon. Later it was written. In Welsh folklore, it is said that the light is a fairy fire held in the hand of Puka, a small goblin like fairy that mischievously leads lone travelers off the beaten path at night. As traveler follows Puka through the marsh or bog, the fire extinguished, leaving them lost. The Puka is said to be one of the Tylwyth Teg of fairy families in Wales. The light predicts a funeral that will take place soon. The locality, Wilt Skies, and the British goblins mentioned in the following Welsh about the tale. So yeah, that is the Will o' the Wisp. And the Orbs. Let's see, Orbs. No, it's called something else. It's like a fireball. Ball lightning. That's ball lightning. Give you all like a little recap about it. Ball lightning is a rare and unexplained phenomenon described as luminescent spherical objects that vary from pea-sized to several meters in diameter. Though usually associated with thunderstorms, the observed phenomenon is reported to last considerably longer than the split-second flash of lightning bolts that the phenomenon distinct from St. Elmo's fire. And I'm thinking of Elmo from like the stuff I watched as a kid, but St. Elmo's fire is a weather phenomenon in which plasma is created by corona discharge from a rod-like object, such as a mast, sphere, chimney, or animal horn, in an atmospheric electronic field. It has also been observed in the leading edges of airplanes. Tsar Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia before the communists took it over, was in a church, and he saw one of them come in the church. And he was a little bit scared, but his grandfather wasn't scared of it. And his grandfather crossed himself, and he wasn't scared of the thing anymore that came into the church. On one early accounts reports on the great thunderstorm at a church in Widecombe and Moor, Devon, in England, on 21 October 1638, 4 people were deleted and approximately 60 suffered injuries during a severe storm. Witnesses described an 8-foot ball of fire striking and entering the church, nearly destroying it. Large stones from the church walls were hurled into the ground, and through large wooden beams. The ball of fire allegedly smashed the pew and many windows, filled the church with a foul sulphurous odor and dark thick smoke. That's basically, and the smell of sulfur is demonic. That's what it smelled like after Katrina, by the way. And also, you had all that there, and it was, that's not nice for that thing to do that. And also on the ship, observed a large ball of blue fire about 5 kilometers distance from them. They immediately lowered their topsails, but it came so fast upon them that before they could raise the main tack, they observed the ball rise almost perpendicularly and above the 40 or 50 yards from the main chains when it went off with an explosion as great as if 100 cannons had been discharged at the same time, leaving a strong sulphurous smell. Again, more sulfur. Once my parents were always, and I was at the night vigil with the grandfather in the small church in Alexandria. During the service, there was a powerful thunderstorm. Streaks of lightning flashed, one after the other, and it seemed as if the peals of thunder would shake even the church and the whole world to its foundations. Suddenly, it became quite dark. A blast of wind from the open door blew out the flame of the candles, which were in front of the iconostases. There was a large clap of thunder, louder than before, and suddenly saw Fireball flying from the window straight toward the head of the Emperor. And he froze, but his panic disappeared of storms in general because his grandfather remained calm. So the Tsar was with his grandfather, and he saw that basically, his grandfather crossed himself, and everybody was okay. So these things are pretty crazy that these people witness. So that is the Orbs. And I'll talk about some of the food. Let's see. I talked about this last time. I talked about this before, but of course, what I like to talk about is the gumbo. So this is a dish I've talked about to a lot of you people, and I've said this to Danny before on the stream last time. But I talk about food here and stuff, and this is the gumbo dish that I like. And remember, I had it at Thanksgiving at my friend's house, and also it's a very classic dish here. I really liked it. It's very good. And also, I was always fascinated because it's like a soup but with crab, with crabs and stuff in it. It's very nice. And also, jambalaya is very similar to it. This is something else, and that is another dish that is very good down here that I like a lot. And Danny, I absolutely would love to do that. Yeah, that could be arranged. And because my friends they make it on Thanksgiving, and I remember with the crabs, they'll catch crabs, and they like have them in a deep freezer, and then the crabs come out and they thaw out and they start running around like on the back porch, and then they get put in there, and then you have them in that. And yeah, and the city's very known for its really good food. And also, there's different variations by different cultures. There's the Cajun version and the Creole version. The Creole people are different than the Cajun people. And nowadays, especially, the Creole people are. It's like originally it was French and Spanish. We have another motorcycle coming through at some point. All right. There's French and there's French and Spanish colonists in this region. They were called Creoles, like people that were born here and not in Europe. But later on, it now means people that like white people kind of, but they're a mix of black. So it's people that have a combination of black and white ancestry in various degrees, and some of them could look like completely white with a little bit of black. And that's like the Creoles, very great culture, very cultured people. They make great food. And also we have the Cajuns. That's something different. There's the French people that were in the bayous and stuff, and they came from Nova Scotia, and they came down here when the British kicked them out of Canada when they didn't swear allegiance to the king, and they were sent down here. So people get those two things mixed up, those two groups mixed up, but they're very different. Yeah, so, and I like with the different seasonings and stuff. That's what makes the food really good. I noticed we can put seasoning in anything. You can make it taste however you want it. It's very good. And another thing I like eating is the croissants. I'm probably not spelling it right. Yeah, these are good. I like eating these. Like my friend and I that I talked about aliens with. You see, we both there's like this cartoon called Jimmy Neutron, and Carl was one of the characters, and he liked to eat a croissant. And we kept when I went to his house one time, we were obsessed with talking about the croissant and making like memes about it. So yeah, that's something else that eat down here that's very nice. Well, they eat that everywhere, but that's something I like to eat too. And something I like drinking is tea. So tea, there's all kinds of different teas, and they're very, in my opinion, and this is scientific studies on this. It's very good for your health, and the caffeine content in the tea is not to the point where it would cause you to have a possible. You see, these people are funny outside. They're very funny. The caffeine crashes and stuff. The people that have that this has a certain amount of caffeine in it where it doesn't cause that. For people that have that, also I like the tea where you can just there's green tea and black tea in various degrees. Also, there's tea from India that tastes very good. And yeah, I like different flavors, and I like drinking it sometimes with milk, sometimes with a sweetener, sometimes just completely plain, sugar, whatever. And yeah, I really like the different flavors. And in Asia, this there is one of the people in China. They had a hot bowl of steaming water, and some leaves fell into it, and that's how tea was invented. And there's a big tea trade that happened all over the place. And in England, my dad's side's from England. They love drinking tea in Britain, and only like the top tier, like the upper class people were able to drink it, and then eventually they made it so everybody could drink it. And in America, partially because of the protesting of the British colonial rule, they decided to go with coffee in defiance. And coffee's good too. I like coffee. I haven't really drinking coffee or tea in a very long time. I probably should sometimes, but basically with coffee and tea interchangeably, that is what we have. Basically, the green tea was what they threw in the harbor. And Danny was saying that the chocolate croissants are amazing rather. And Danny says we have Yorkshire tea over here. It's strongest one. It's lovely. Oh, that sounds really cool. That's really cool. I'll look that one up. Yeah, Yorkshire tea. That's I think my uncle over there drinks that. Yeah, that's a very good tea. I've not tried it yet, but I certainly will. Yeah, I like both. And he says he drinks coffee in the afternoon and tea in the evening. That's a good combination. I like that. Because I believe it's cool to drink both. I like both of them. There's a coffee that's from down here, and they put it with pecans, and it's pecan coffee with like coffee grinds with pecans in it. It tastes really good, and it's native to the city. I really like drinking it. Also, I'm growing turnips in my garden. That I planted them today, and they have all kinds of cool dishes to drink with turnips. Not to drink, but to eat with turnips. Okay, Matt, thank you. Also, basically, we have these are a couple of dishes that you can have with turnips. And basically, very good. It's very good. And also, basically, you could make mashed potatoes out of this too. Well, thank you, Matt. Thank you. I'm glad that you came to tell us hello. This is an example of the mashed potato type. This is an example of the mashed potato kind, and it's very, as I said, very similar to mashed potatoes. So these are some of the different ones, and also you could have salad with it too, and you could eat turnips cooked or raw. Kathy said coffee with chicory. That sounds very good. That sounds very good. Yeah, so these are some various different dishes you can make with this. Yeah, Cafe Du Monde. Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's very good. Matt, thank you for being at both. I appreciate that. Those are some roasted turnips. Those are very good. And also, she said coffee with chicory. Yes, I know exactly what this is. This is very good. This is very good. Yeah, I've had that before. They have very nice dishes here. Enhanced flavor when chicory is added to South Indian filter coffee. It imparts a unique flavor profile that enhances the overall taste of the brew. Chicory root, when roasted, has ground and slightly woody, nutty flavor, with a hint of caramel like sweetness. Yeah, so this, what Kathy mentioned, that's very good what she mentioned. You know, and that's something I highly recommend, and I've had that before. And then it is said, why does down here in New Orleans have chicory? Being the second largest coffee port at the time, local coffee addicts were desperate for an alternative following precious French practices. New Orleans locals turned to chicory to help satisfy their coffee cravings and make their limited coffee supply outlast the blockade. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. This is another one I'll do again. It's a little bit of a. It's kind of a repeat from last Sunday for the people that were not in the chat in that time. Crawfish, and it's showing that, but we're going to go here instead. All right, so this is crawfish, and sometimes they'll walk around wildly around the yard. Sometimes they walk and go to different places. And basically you have all of this, and they have crawfish holes, and they come out of them from the ground. And as I said, you have them all over the place sometimes, but not, rare here and there you'll see them walk around the yard. But yeah, that's another one that's really good. In the corn and the season, it's very good. It's very good. Also, the crabs are good too. Also, another thing about turnips and spinach, don't reheat those. But you all probably know this. I learned this today. Don't reheat them, the spinach and turnips and stuff like that, because it can become toxic with the different nutrients that are in it. And we have spinach. And also we have here is these spinach dishes. I grow spinach quite frequently. And also basically I've not grown it this year, but I have some winter spinach I'm going to grow in winter. And I eat them raw, but you could also cook them, and you have a very cool things you could make with them. And for instance, so convincingly, you could put a string on it and walk it like a dog. Yes, in theory you can with the crawfish. Yes, you can. That's a good one. Matt is hilarious. If I was in a pinch, yes. Matt is hilarious. He's very funny. Florentine is a classic French cuisine that refers to a dish that typically includes a base of cooked spinach, a protein component, and marinade sauce. Chicken Florentine is the most popular version. You could have it salads and appetizers, even smoothies is the main dish. I like smoothies a lot. I think they're very good. Sautéing spinach is when you cook spinach. And look at this. Let's see. Small, tender varieties are grown for human consumption, while large varieties are grown to feed livestock. The native turnip used in many regions also include rutabaga and neep and swede. Let's see. There's turnip cake. That's something new. All right. Spinach on pizza is very good. Kathy, the cat probably would hypothetically chase them, but I've never seen them do that. And usually it's in the back, and the cats were not present when they were. I think there was an incident when the cat was trying to tap one of them, but it's very rare to see a sighting of one. But I'm sure they probably would. But usually they leave them alone, or maybe they try to tap them. But yeah, I'm sure in theory they would. It's something it may have happened one time. One time it did, but it's not something you see frequently. But yes, Kathy, correct. But they're very slow. But it would be something interesting to see again. Yes. Spinach on pizza is very good. I like that a lot, yes. Briefly about turnip cake. Turnip cake is a Chinese dim sum dish. The less common name, radish cake, is more accurate, as Western-style turnips are not used in dish, but rather shredded radish, typically Chinese radish, and plain rice flour. It is traditionally called carrot cake in Singapore. Turnip cake is commonly served in Cantonese yum cha, usually cut in rectangular slices and sometimes pan-fried before serving. So that's something brief about turnip cake I was not too aware of. Okay. spinach on pizza. All right, this is Amy's pizza right here. All right, so this is the spinach pizza. All right, so basically, yeah, this is the spinach. It's acting kind of goofy. This is the spinach on the pizza. Okay, so basically, this is more spinach on pizza. That's a very good idea. Very good idea. I like this idea. And that's a very good idea, Amy. Making me hungry too. It's making me hungry as well. And I like pineapples on pizza. I know people don't like that, and I think sometimes the other things like sardines and stuff. I like spinach on pizza. I love spinach pizza. It's very very good. I really like that a lot. And we're back on now, and yeah. So Amy was saying she's hungry and she didn't know that about turnip cakes. We learn something new every day. You're welcome. And also everybody's hungry because of me now. And also we have the turnips, not the turnips, but the spinach pizza. I like that too. It's very good. I agree. And very funny, very funny. You can do all kinds of things with these vegetables and stuff. And I'll put up some pictures soon, or make a video about the pictures I've taken of. I made salads and stuff with spinach and radishes and things I grew in the yard. I love making my own salads with the stuff I grow in the yard. It's very good food. All right, and also, okay. So basically, now we're gonna do this. We're going to. So yeah, as I said, this is just some spinach pizza, and it's very good. We could put all kinds of toppings on pizza, and I like that suggestion. That's something that I remember eating and enjoying very much. All right, all right, and now I want to say is Matt is saying sardines on pizza are amazing. It sounds weird, but it's very popular overseas in Italy. Oh, garlic is very good too. I love garlic. I've grown garlic before, and it's very good. I think garlic is great also. It's very good on different dishes and things too. That's very yummy, very delicious. Today for lunch, I ate sushi. Today for lunch, I ate sushi, and I ate some wasabi. I'm gonna grow that too. Wasabi's a plant as well. When it comes to Frisian cuisine, taco pizza is one of my favorite kinds of weird pizza. That sounds very good. Yeah, that's very good. I like that. Yeah, it's very yummy. Yeah, that's a good idea. Also, this is shrimp pizza. That's very good too. I like shrimp pizza as well. My mom makes it very good. Very, very good pizza. This is the wasabi plant. This is the wasabi plant. This is the wasabi plant. And also, you have. That's a plant I'm going to be growing too, and it's very good. And I ate some sushi today with wasabi. It's very good. See, this is some sushi, very good. Oh, I love jalapenos, and also I've grown the dragon Thailand pepper. Yeah, this is a pepper I've grown. It's the Thailand dragon pepper, but the jalapeno pepper specifically. Yeah, that's very good too, as well. Also, we'll look up the other thing, garlic. Yeah, we have the garlic plants. This is very good, and also I like them. Very, very tasty. And I could also smell that too, Kathy, as well. And also we have this situation where I had to mute the sound for a second because somebody was blasting music. So, all right, yeah, that I said very good. And daikon is another one. I didn't know that, Matt. Thank you for letting me know. This is something I've grown before. This is a very good plant. The daikon. It's a Japanese radish. A Japanese radish, I believe. Yes. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to now I'm going to be ending it now. I'm going to go see the cats in the back, and I took a little extra time to spend time with y'all, but basically I so now I'm going to be ending it, and I really enjoyed this live stream. I enjoyed the time we had together on here, and I'm going to go see the cats in the back now, and I really appreciate all you being here and giving your support and likes and interacting in the chat, and those that are lurking and just watching. So I appreciate all of you, very much for that. And have a great Labor Day weekend, everybody. And I hope that all of you have been having a great Labor Day weekend as well. All right, and peace.